Industry Insider is only available at Promo Corner, the leader in digital marketing for the promotional products industry. Each Monday, they discuss, dissect, and debate a single issue impacting the world of promotional marketing from every industry perspective. Now, it's time for Promo Corner's Industry Insider.
Welcome to another edition of the Industry Insider, your promotional products podcast, where you can get all the nerdy news you need to know about. My name is Jeff Franklin, National Accounts Manager with Headwear USA, and I'm joined today by only my two other co-hosts for this lovely broadcast. But listen, we are brought to you today by our good friends over at promotional.com. And look, we're starting the new year off learning about products for the body, mind, and soul. This Valentine's Day, Get Zen distributors can register by clicking on the body, mind, and soul banner at promoshow.com, and suppliers can reach out to sales at PromoShow if you need help reserving a booth. You'll be able to check out the latest PPE, personal care, fitness, SPF stuff, pill boxes, and much more. There will be education, entertainment, and giveaways throughout the day, so be sure to check it out on February 14th between 11 and 3. And look, distributors, go to promoshow.com, click on that body, mind, and soul banner at the top to register. And suppliers, be sure to email sales at promocorner.com if you're interested in a booth. You definitely should be. And promoshow.com, that is the entire industry virtually. So go check it out. Tell them Industry Insider sent you, of course. Why wouldn't you? Why don't we say hi to Meg Erber? Meg, you've been on like a good hair streak. I don't know what's going on, but keep it up.
Yeah, just,
I don't know,
it's the natural.
Is it the dye? You've like recently changed the hair color, or what is it? I can't quite picture it or figure it out.
It's just curly. It's just my natural curl. That's all. But
nice.
I'm doing good. I don't know if you saw Kirby's podcast that dropped today. We did a really cool one on NFTs again. You know me, I'm NFTs. So that one today. What else? There was some really cool stuff happen. I don't know. I'm just excited to be here. I'm excited for this podcast. Steven's in LA. Like, what? It's crazy.
Yeah, if you read the caption, or if you're looking at Steven and you see the beautiful palm trees, it's definitely not North Carolina. Although North Carolina is beautiful, it doesn't look quite like that. And you can see the banner behind Steven there. That's Super Bowl 56 behind him. So I think he's live at SoFi Stadium, if I'm not mistaken. Steven, how the hell are you, and why are you there?
Hey, hey, I'm doing great. You know, the things we do for the podcast, right? It's like, you know, yeah. I might as well just fly to Los Angeles, make sure we get some good content. So. But no, it is tough life, right? So I'm actually here. I'm helping with Athletes in Action has an event every year, which is called the Bart Starr Breakfast. There's 3 major NFL events. There's the Hall of Fame awards dinner. There's the Man of the Year event. Then there's the Bart Starr Breakfast. And so I've got involved with them about 5 or 6 years ago, volunteering with their group there. And so I go to the host city for the Super Bowl and get to kind of hang out in city. So I kind of doubled up this trip and said, why not visit some customers, do the podcast, and then also be able to help with the Super Bowl. So I am currently, I'm not at SoFi, but I am right across the street from crypto.com stadium and the convention center. And this is where pretty much all of the live action is going to be for the Super Bowl. Leading up to, you know, being at SoFi, obviously, for the stadium. So,
gotcha.
Yeah, there's a lot happening here.
Well, I stand corrected. No, but look, we wanted to discuss this. I know we typically do this each year, or at least to some extent, talk about, you know, the Super Bowl, because if you've ever been in a host city, it is amazing to see how much that city transforms during Super Bowl and the weeks leading up to Super Bowl and thereafter, and how much promo really takes a part in that. And so it's really cool. We wanted to bring it to you guys. Steven, you've had the opportunity to go to a bunch of them and see this happen multiple times. So, you know, you're a wealth of knowledge there. And but sure. I guess, you know what, we're gonna do this. Steven, it is customary for us to give our special guests a good 3 to 4 minutes to introduce themselves and what you know, maybe how you got started in the industry and what the hell you've been up to since. So I don't think anybody is actually knows our backstory or where we come from. So we should probably do this if it's just the 3 of us. Steven, why don't you go ahead?
You know, I feel completely caught off guard by this question. I've never heard it asked on this podcast. So Steven McFadden, president of Perfect Promotions, more out of North Carolina, not Los Angeles. And I got started in the industry. I first went to school studying criminology because I wanted to be James Bond. And I realized, you know, that's probably not gonna work out. I think there's a height requirement, and I didn't meet it. So my parents got into. My mom actually was an event coordinator at a telecommunications company, and she then started her own company after there were some bad company mergers. She left the company. She started her own promotional business. My dad then joined in later. I joined while I was in college. Wife joins later. Now we have a whole family business and been doing it ever since. So I guess I fall into the born into it category. Because you either fall into it or born into it. So I guess I was born into it. But that's my 3-minute spiel of how I got into the industry. So
awesome. Well done,
good?
sir. For being caught off guard, it was wonderful. Thank you.
Oh yeah, thank you.
So Stephen,
right, well,
you were told us ahead, like right before the podcast started, and kind of what we really go into is about the transformation. Tell us what happened in your hotel alone. Just start there, and that's crazy.
Yeah. So, I'll start. I'll actually back up one more thing. I kept some information from you, Meg, because I couldn't tell you everything before. But as soon as I got the vehicle, so can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so as soon as I got my my car for the trip, I turned on Waze to punch in the address to the hotel, and up pops an advertisement in Waze for the Super Bowl, and it's save this as a location, SoFi Stadium, NFL Live. So everything gets altered for the Super Bowl. All the digital apps and advertisements. And what Meg, you were talking about, I checked into the hotel on Monday, and there was this really cool display in the front lobby of fedoras. So from the ground to the ceiling of fedoras. Last night I went to bed, it was still hats. This morning I woke up, all those hats are gone, and they've been replaced with NFL helmets from all the teams and a bunch of Super Bowl plexiglass and advertisements. So in a matter of an evening, the hotel lobby changed to be advertisements for the Super Bowl. So it's everything is just being changed. Now, from the cities that I've been in before, it seems like this one, there is a little bit of a difference in how Los Angeles is doing compared to some of the others. Most of these host cities have events that basically run from weekend to weekend. Los Angeles, I believe, for staffing reasons, for COVID reasons, things like that, they have actually opted to do just the weekend, and then not Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, but then it starts back up on Thursday. So you've seen a lot of as I'm driving through the city, buildings that are still being transformed, even today. Yesterday afternoon, I drove by over by the Chase building, which is right by the downtown center, over by crypto.com, which I'm walking towards. And there was an advertisement for Euphoria, I believe, on the side of it. This morning, when I walked back by, it's now a 70-foot Von Miller, Adidas, Rams advertisement on the side of the building. So literally it's still coming together.
It all comes full circle, Stephen. I've been harassing you about Von Miller this entire year since that trade, and now you're in LA hanging out. You're probably drinking beers with him or something in every evening, right?
I would never kiss and tell with Von Miller. So
So I was actually in Miami a couple years ago, the week before the Super Bowl, and I was absolutely blown away at how much the city transforms. There's literally banners and signs everywhere. They have the full experience leading up to it, the fan experience that you're talking about, I believe. And there's a ton of promo and stuff that's given away there. They've got media. What do they call it? Media Alley or something?
So Media Row is going to be over in the convention center, which is in the building right behind me here. Over, I don't know if you can see further behind me, there's kind of a taller building, over here. So that is the edge of the convention center, and that's where Super Bowl Village, Super Bowl Live, will be. And then, so every city, just so I can kind of give you some background, every time the Super Bowl comes to a city, they bring in a few different events. So there's Media Row, which is where all the media folks will go to, all the ESPN reporters, ABC reporters, all the reporters. They'll bring in different athletes for the week. and it's kind of a public venue space, so you can watch all these live interviews happening. It's really cool. They have NFL Live, which is usually an outdoor kind of pavilion area, concert area, where they'll have basically pep rallies, concerts, different appearances by different celebrity athletes, things like that. And then there's NFL Live, or the NFL Experience, and that's where they bring in like pass kick competitions, the throwing competitions, like all sorts of like fun, interactive football things. They bring in all the Lombardi trophies, all the rings from every team. There's different like historical stuff about the NFL. So there's usually 2 or 3 different sites that, if you're coming to tour or coming to visit, you'd want to check out. You definitely would want to see both of those independently, because they can be a full day just as kind of experiencing everything. And then, so Los Angeles, the way they did is they have NFL Live and the NFL Experience pretty close together. One of them is over in LA Live, which is in between like old Staples Center, now Crypto.com Arena, and the Convention Center. And actually, that's where I'm walking, so I can show you guys kind of how they've transformed that. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, I'm excited actually to see all that. They're saying that this Super Bowl is supposed to be like just off the rocker. They're talking about probably the most viewership this year. Are you seeing like bigger crowds this year in comparison to previous years, or what are you seeing with feet on the ground over there, Stephen?
So truthfully, I don't see more crowds than I've used to. I think the busiest city that I saw, host city, was probably Atlanta.
What year was that?
Atlanta.
Yeah.
I think that was 3 years ago.
Okay.
Before the one before Miami. Miami was pretty busy as well. And I think part of that has to do with the way they've done the scheduling of events too. So since there's not events Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I haven't seen the crowds of people walking around in the streets, with their jerseys and stuff like I normally have. Like normally when you come to the host city, if you're anywhere within like a 20 block square radius, everyone's wearing, one of the teams that's in town that week. I haven't seen that. Granted though, since we are in the home city, you have to imagine there's half the number of people that are traveling in, because half the fans are already here. So,
yeah, true. Very true.
So with that though, every radio station is talking about the Rams. Every television station is talking about the Rams. The taxis and cars and people are all excited about the Rams because we're here, we're at their home, so it's it's pretty interesting. And all my customers that I've seen, they're like, oh, we're in the Super Bowl, and everyone's super excited and stuff. So it's pretty cool.
So I have a question for you, Stephen. How much merch have you bought since you've been there?
$0 of merch.
Really? Really? Are you planning on buying anything? Or do you look at everything and say, oh, I know how much that really costs. I can't buy that.
Yeah, that's part of it. The other thing is too, with the event that I get to volunteer with, I'll probably get access to some of that stuff without having to purchase it, which is kind of nice. Usually the only thing that I collect each year from the host cities is the football, and now you get that through the event that I help with. But it's pretty neat. But I haven't seen, I don't know if they've just cracked down on it, but most of the cities, you mentioned this too, there's like street vendors and merch vendors.
Yeah.
I saw a few on Monday and Tuesday over by the other edge of the convention center, which is where people would enter. But it was kind of like the remnants of their setup because there's no event. So I don't know if that's good or bad, because I don't know that a lot of those are legitimate sales pop-ups. A lot of them are kind of aftermarket sales.
Mm-hmm. One of my favorite T-shirts came from one of those vendors. So, so back to the merch. So you said you didn't buy any. Do you?
I don't know if you can see. I'm actually.
Go ahead.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
So I was gonna say, do either of you know what the average amount of merch that a fan will purchase during Super Bowl?
Oh my goodness.
I mean, they spend $10,000 to actually get
$250.
in the stadium. So, I mean,
I
it's got to
know,
be
right?
something comparable to that, right? Like,
Yeah. So it's about $80 each. So last year, the Super
really?
Bowl
That's
had
it?
25, I know, right? 25,000 attendees spent, and they spent $80 average each. It cost about $2 million just on the merch at the stadium. But last year, the total was $545 million in advertising spent for the Super Bowl last year. Now that's promo and advertising, which did include TV commercials. So it was kind of hard to break up. But let me see. Last year, fans spent $14 billion for the Super Bowl, but that also encompasses everything: food, beverages, team apparel, accessories, and decorations, etc. So ASI, I reached out to ASI and they gave me some really good data on this. And I was looking into it. Do you know that the viewership has actually been in a steady decline since 2015? And last year, it was actually the lowest it had been in like 20 years almost, since the early 2000s. So that's why I was wondering, like, I feel like there's so much hype about this one, and for my own personal reasons of me wanting to watch it, because I'm not like a huge football fan, is the halftime show. I feel like our generation is totally encompassing this halftime show. Like last year was The Weeknd, like, yeah, they're great, but now you've got Snoop Dogg, you've got Eminem, you got Mary J. Blige, you have like all these really cool stars from the 90s that we all love. So I am super excited about that, and also excited about the NFT drop. But I don't know, what are you guys thinking?
Yeah, there's a ton of storylines with this year's event. I mean, this year's Super Bowl. You've got kind of the new sensation of Joe Burrow, and you also have just the it being a mega city like Los Angeles, the Matthew Stafford story, all the trades that they did. So I mean, it's going to be pretty widely viewed. I think if you're looking at like a market perspective, Cincinnati probably isn't a huge national market, so I don't know how that's going to affect the viewerships. But I still think there's enough storyline to bring in the rest of the country. So we'll have to see how the views are. What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, well, that was the other thing that I kind of was wondering with the steady decline. I mean, I know there's several factors that lead into that. I know there's going to be some good old boys that dropped out because of the whole Colin Kaepernick thing, and
that was last year, right, or the year before? Yeah.
Oh, it's been several years.
Yeah.
So it was probably around that 2015 date that you threw out there. But I know that had I'm sure part of it, not a huge impact, I don't think, but also a lot of people are like cutting cable, so does that factor in, or do they have a way of tracking people that are streaming it somehow? Me personally, like you said, the halftime show and the commercials are usually like a really big deal. And I think, people are, either getting smart about how they're spending their advertising dollars and not necessarily doing the big extravagant commercials anymore, or what. But I feel like the commercials the last couple of years haven't been that great either.
Do you know how much they cost for a 30-second ad?
Oh, it's stupid.
I wrote it down. I don't know where it is, but it was $5.3 million for a 30-second ad. Insane. Wow. So I know that so the data from the NRF, the National Retail Federation, the data survey is showing 184.5 million people are planning. I'm sorry, adults, not just people. Adults are planning to tune in this year. So that's like double the amount of actual viewers from last year. But with that being said, they also anticipated 186 million last year. So it could be worse than last year, or they could be. I don't think it's going to be worse. I actually think because of the halftime show alone, it's going to be insane. This
is actually going to be a really good Super Bowl too, and I think that's a good way to segue into what Jeremy Witt wants to know. He wants to know if we have picks. Who are we taking for the Super Bowl this year? Now, I should stipulate, I'm wearing a Rams jersey right now. My father, I'm not a Rams fan, okay, but my father is a huge Rams fan, has been since the Colts left Baltimore, and so I'm supportive of the Rams, and will be rooting for the Rams and taking the Rams. Meg, how about you?
I probably would want to go with the Rams just for the whole spirit of LA. Like, I feel like they need a good morale booster, but like Cincinnati, I mean, I feel bad for them. I don't think anyone expected them to make it to the Super Bowl. So
I don't think they've ever won a playoff game, let alone
have they ever won a game?
No, I don't think they've.
Besides
Well,
that
that's a little harsh, but I mean,
I mean, they had that one quarterback that was insane, and I was like, "Oh, this is interesting." But then he didn't last a couple games before they were like, "All right, you're a problem." That kid from Texas, right? That was them, right?
That was
No?
the Browns.
That
Oh,
was the Browns. Yeah,
that's another team that nobody has fans for. Sorry.
same division.
Sorry,
So we'll give
Josh
you somewhat
Robbins.
kudos. Who are you taking, Steven?
I think the Rams. I mean, I'm pulling for Von Miller to get a second one. I think that the pieces that they've added, they've got 9 people with at least 1 year of experience that have played in the Super Bowl, where the Bengals have 1. So I think there's just a lot of things that are kind of against the Bengals this year. They've got.
Do you think there's added pressure to be like in your own city during the Super? I mean, it's hard enough to like be in the Super Bowl and to take a loss. Could you imagine losing in your own city in the Super Bowl? Like that would just be atrocious.
I know how Philly fans are, and they will turn their backs on you so quick. So I can imagine they've already left LA once, so they're gonna.
Well, I think that I don't know if did you guys see the StubHub information about the tickets?
Mm-mm.
So
No.
right now they're showing, like, they do heat maps based on who's buying the tickets and who they're fans for. Right now it's 56% Cincinnati.
Ooh.
Which I thought was pretty interesting. I'm like, that's surprising, because there was a lot of advertisements about, will the Cincinnati market even be able to afford the tickets, like on an average, because they were being boosted so much. Hey, before this truck passes in front of me here, I did want to show you. I made it over to the live experience area. So this is where like live concerts and stuff will be held. There's the NFL One app, which I think I don't know if I mentioned or not yet, but it gives you like a live breakdown of when each concert will be, when the celebrities will be kind of making their appearances, which athletes will be doing signings, stuff like that. But this is one of the main sites for this week. So sorry about that. But yeah, Rams I think would be my pick.
Nice.
And Tampa Bay didn't have a problem winning at home last year, so we'll see if that actually comes into effect. So
yeah, I think Matthew Stafford's finally going to have his, man. So Meg, back to your merchandise question. Steven, your wife is throwing you under the bus here a little bit. She says you got to make sure that you buy a keychain of the city and the Super Bowl for your daughter. And you better not forget.
Yes, thank you. I do that. I do try to buy keychains for her backpack. So that is one thing that I do. Oh, speaking of advertising and marketing, look at this little build out they did. So Tostitos, Cheetos, Doritos, Lay's. They had this whole little section here where they built out these little houses, and they have like the Cheetos house, the Doritos house, the Lay's house, and then there's a Bengals mobile for Doritos right here. So
that's
you see what happened. They watch our podcast, and they heard us talk about Numo last year or 2 years ago, and they were like, yeah, we should probably build a house too,
That's right. Yeah.
Steven, go get inside that car. Go take a picture inside that car.
Well, I have a gate here, and
flash your badge, man.
Just flash your badge.
There's also a canine officer right here, so I'm not trying to do anything silly.
Don't you pull rank over that officer?
I can't disclose what my rank is, Jeff. I have to keep some anonymity.
So what's your biggest surprise there, Steven? What kind of blew you away? I know you go to this thing every year. What stood out to you? What was different? Anything new, exciting? Like, wow.
I kind of have that moment with every city. So like Minneapolis, they did that was probably the most wow factor, because they embraced the cold, and they literally put up 30-40 foot ice sculptures in the middle of the road, knowing they wouldn't melt. So like they had like Lombardi trophies and logos, and it was kind of blew your mind. Atlanta had their really cool live setup in the park. I think the thing that fascinates me most is Los Angeles, and I think about this probably every time I go, whether it's for the Super Bowl or not, just the way that they do like billboarding and signage. There's not a lot of places that have flats, like such huge, large flat surfaces like the skyscrapers and stuff that they have here. where they literally just use all the square footage of it for advertisements and banners. So, seeing that they've already put up, graphics for, I'm looking at one right now for Bud Light for the Super Bowl. There's one for the Wi-Fi for the Super Bowl. There's like 3 or 4 for Nike. There's one for Adidas. Like all of these high rises are just covered with like company advertisements for the Super Bowl, which probably will be gone in a week. It's like, so
yeah, we see the ads behind you too. It looks like there's crypto.com. You see the flags. That's crazy. I'm really looking forward to seeing the stats that come out about, all of the volunteer stuff that was bought, all of the merch that was sold, and really excited to see the final stats after the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good one. And I think that there'll be a lot. One of the things I was a little bit surprised with, and I think that's just how the city has chose to do it, but every other city I've been to has had volunteers in the hotels, or not in the hotels, in the airports to kind of talk to you about the events. There was no volunteer staff. There was no Super Bowl volunteer staff. Now that could be just because they're starting later, so it could be like they don't start until later this week. But I've been used to seeing that for the last 2 years, and I was a little curious about that, and I haven't seen any since. So I think it's because things don't really get going until Thursday. So we'll have to see how that changes.
So Stephen, being able to do what you do, I don't know how much you want to disclose, but what's like maybe the coolest person that you've ever met, or the coolest thing you've been able to do in these experiences?
So without going too crazy into it, I mean, the last time I did it in Miami, I was with Peyton Manning, so that was probably one of my favorites. That was basically spending a day with him, so that's not a bad way to spend a day. So probably the best experience I had though is I got to pick up Calais Campbell from the airport, and we got stuck in Atlanta traffic for like 2 hours, which was you would think bad, but then when you realize that you're just trapped in a car with an NFL player, you get to talk a lot with them. So we actually got to talk a lot about like player union stuff and all sorts of cool things. So it was a really cool experience.
That's awesome. Meg,
hey, Meg, I got something for you.
Nope. Yep. Go ahead.
You ready?
Yep.
You see that billboard?
No.
That's your halftime show.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
It's literally the entire side of a building.
That's really cool. That is really cool. Hey, maybe that's where we're selling the wrong thing, guys. Signage, where it's at.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 17 stories tall right there. And
it's the entire side of the building. I mean, that's what blew me away in Miami too, man. It's just banners and signs everywhere,
So our friend Ellie from Logo Jojo said that Minneapolis hosted the Super Bowl in 2018, and not a problem with our home team playing at home. Locals came from all over Minneapolis to be part of the hoopla, even though no one was going to the game. It was a real sense of pride and community. So I definitely see that happening, even though 56% of the tickets are coming from, Cincinnati, that you're going to have all the fun and the hoopla going on, and even if they can't afford to go to the Super Bowl, they're going to be in the crowds and the parties and everything else. I think Thursday, since they're not doing much during the week this year.
Yeah. And Minneapolis Minneapolis wasn't in the Super Bowl when they hosted it in 15. Tampa Bay was the first year that happened, and but they honestly were probably the best host city I've been to, awesome. And they did a really, really good job, and probably had the most challenges. If I'm being honest, they just had so many obstacles with weather. That I don't think a lot of the other places would have to consider, but they did the best from what I know.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Meg, any other stats you want to share with us before we wrap it up?
No, I think that's it that I had. I think that was it.
All right.
Thank you, Michelle Bell and Chris Ruvo, for all that good information. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Stephen, anything else to share?
No. I'm crossing the street here. There's another big advertisement I was going to show you guys if I get there. But I think like looking at everything in a whole, I mean, there's got to be over 10,000 of those street banners. The ones that are going up and down every block. I mean, every app has a geotag of some sort because every time I log into something, it's talking about the Super Bowl. So, there's banners galore, there's merchandise galore. When you walk into the airport, all of the airport shops and stuff have changed over to have merchandise for the Super Bowl. So, I mean, you can definitely see how, even though we're early, it's totally refaced the surface. I mean, refaced the city. So it's pretty wild, pretty cool. I'm excited to see what if it keeps going the way it's going. Who knows? Half these banners that you see now may already be being pulled down and put up something new for tomorrow. So
did you just wipe sweat from your forehead?
Yeah, there's sun here.
That's
for you guys.
That's really effed up. I don't know what that's like, but I think we're actually supposed to hit 50 today, so I might actually go outside for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That might be nice. I'm sure the 80-degree weather that you're experiencing right now, I'm sure is it's terrible.
It's a rough life. It's I think be careful though. We're supposed to have a low of 52 tonight, so it may get a little chilly. I may have to pull out a long sleeve t-shirt.
Yeah, it's gonna be cold. Hopefully you packed extra. Bundle up. All right. Well,
I see where this Von Miller was, but yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
That's all right. I was just going to let everybody know that this broadcast was brought to you by our good friends over at Promo Show. Flying Steven out to LA to do the podcast and everything. It was amazing. No, just kidding. But not about Promo Show. You guys definitely got to check them out. Promoshow.com. Starting the new year off, learning about products for the body, mind, and soul. And this Valentine's Day, you got to get some Zen going on. All right. Distributors can register by clicking on body, mind, and soul banner at promoshow.com, and suppliers can reach out to sales at promoshow.com if you're interested in reserving a booth, and you should be. You'll be able to check out the latest PPE, personal care, fitness, SPF stuff, pill boxes, and much more. There's going to be education, entertainment, and giveaways throughout the day, so be sure to check it out on February 14th between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. Eastern. Distributors, go to promoshow.com and click on that body, mind, and soul banner on the top to register. Suppliers, email sales at promocorner.com if you're interested in a booth. Promoshow.com, the entire industry virtually. Steven, thank you so much, man, for sharing the experience. I see Von Miller behind you, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, this was a Euphoria advertisement yesterday.
When I was talking about drinking beers with him, I didn't mean
crazy.
Standing on the street, drinking each night with his billboard behind you.
Well, that would have to start tonight because that billboard just went up, but I'm excited to do that. Give it a go.
So. I mean, hey, that's a story you could always tell people. If you go and have a drink there underneath of Von Miller's billboard, you can always say you had drinks with Von Miller.
You wanted kind of a unique story. I'll tell a quick one because I know we're wrapping up right now. We just need to read out. But where I'm at, we usually are in the host hotel for the events. And I was like, man, if I could see Von Miller, how cool would that be? And the only person I froze on and didn't go talk to in all the years that I've been here was Von Miller. I saw him walk in. He's got a super cool glasses on, and he's kind of power walking through the crowd. And I was I just did one of these. I was like, that was Von Miller. And I didn't go up to him, and I still regret it to this day. So, but live and you learn. Maybe I'll get that opportunity again.
Shoot your shot,
Probably
Steven.
not this year.
Shoot your shot.
I will.
Shoot your shot. Fair enough. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. Steven, Meg, always a pleasure. Super excited for you, Steven, to be able to be there and experience all that and help out. And it's awesome. Thank you for sharing it with us. Truly an honor. And we'll see you guys next week. Go Rams.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Promo Corner's Industry Insider. For more great content from industry thought leaders, including podcasts, blogs, and videos, visit promocorner.com.